Yo, what is going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown Your Questions, episode 436. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
Sup, people? How's it going?
Carlos Romero.
Yo.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
And Brett Murdoch.
What up, people?
All right. Brian's still moving, so I think he said he's not going to be on for a little bit, right? So that's understandable there. And Adams's kids don't have school tomorrow, so he'll be on when he's on.
It's party time.
It's party time. Man, we ain't got to go to sleep.
You know what? I don't know. I mean, to be honest, even when I had off, I don't think I ever had any issues staying up late or stuff like that.
I did. You know I was like, fuck that. Let's stay up, you know.
Well, no,
but,
I mean,
but the difference is I was
late was
yeah.
Late was 10 o'clock, when I was a kid.
Oh, well, interesting.
Yeah.
I guess, but then again, you're a night owl too. Usually on a Friday, I would go to sleep around midnight. I'm like, I don't have to go to school tomorrow. This is awesome. Then I wake up at 10 the next day.
I would say that when I got older, that's when I started sort of staying up more late. But when I was younger, on a 7 which is around the ages of his kids.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. No. Yeah. I just right. I'm thinking about when I was 12 or something. Yeah. No. You're right. When I was that age, I'm like 10 o'clock. That's late. You know.
Yeah. 10 o'clock was late. So
Yeah. Anyway, we're not here to talk about the kids. We're here to talk about the games. Let's just jump right into it, man. Jay Shep starts us off here. Following the lackluster PlayStation slow case, I saw someone post that PlayStation had 2 showcases in 2020 for the unveiling of the PS5. That is correct. They had 2 of them. Is it possible PlayStation is saving games for the unveiling of the PS5 Pro if it's releasing later this year? And Toon Medic, our boy Michael Santiago, he has a related question. Was Sony holding back? That's some of the rumors are going around saying that PlayStation was holding back. And I'm like, that's stupid. Why would they hold back? This is your main showcase after 2 years. Why would you hold back? That makes no fucking sense to me. But again, this is why we're now seeing the narrative of wait for the next showcase. I'm like, wait for the next showcase. Wait for Summer Game Fest. That sounds familiar. That sounds like something another fan base would utter after a bad showing. So yeah, I could be dead wrong about this, but in my opinion, I don't think there's going to be another showcase not so soon. I think there could be one later on this year. I'm not discounting that, but during quote unquote E3 time, and that Sony was purposely holding back. Nah, that's bullshit. I don't buy that for a second.
It's crazy how the same talking points can just circulate depending on whose feet are in the fire.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? So yeah, I don't buy any of this. I don't think Sony was holding back. I think, and we got a related question to this too later on. I think they showed what they had to show, and that's what you get.
I think one thing that we can say is they definitely do have a PS5 Pro in the works. I don't know if that's going to be this year or next year. It's probably going to be soon, within the next year or two. In terms of a showcase, I mean, this was, and I don't know if there's another question relating to the showcase itself, but just thinking about it, it's crazy how bad it was.
Yeah, our thoughts are already on the last episode. We have 2 hours and 2.5 hours of our thoughts. And it was pretty bad, dude. It was bad.
Even after a couple of days to ponder on. Yeah, it doesn't get better.
I mean, here's the one thing about it. My one impression with that showcase, I didn't consider it bad or good. I just considered it there, and to be honest, that's even worse than bad, because it's no reaction at all. Yeah. It existed, no reaction at all. It's that Kojima shot from the low angle saying, "I saw that movie." Yes. No reaction. That's what I felt like during that showcase.
Yeah.
Granted, there were there were moments, there were
the Spideys,
little spikes, but yeah, I overall it's just all right,
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't mad because I already had my expectations low. So yeah, I mean, mostly I was just I can't say Kojima. I was more bewildered. I'm like, really? That's what?
To be honest,
you're going with that? Okay.
with the current phase of the way Sony's PlayStation's like showcases have gone, they have all really been underwhelming. To be honest.
Oh yeah. Then that's why I kept my expectations low. I can't recall a showcase outside of like maybe the Ghost of Tsushima one that was like a mind blowing one. I was like, mostly they're bad, you know, showcase and state of play, in my opinion, you know. But yeah, I don't really buy into the narrative they were holding back. Again, that sounds like something another fan base said, you know. Sounds exactly.
Yeah, they're holding back.
Exactly the same. Yeah.
Waited till E3 and all that other good stuff.
Here we go.
We've been waiting for E3 for over 10 years. So when's it gonna happen, buddy?
Yeah.
Like what's her face? What was that? Judge what's her face looking at her watch?
Yeah.
You know,
Judge Judy.
Judge Judy. She's like that, pointing to her watch and slapping her arm. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Carlos, off topic. I saw what you meant. Like for a second, the stream health thing went to red. I'm like, oh shit, but it's green again, so we should be good. You know.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So sorry about that, people. You know, internet. Anyway,
the future.
So yeah, does anybody give any credence to this whole Sony holding back thing?
No, because
No,
why
I don't
would?
think so.
I mean, Spider-Man is essentially the mascot of freaking PlayStation right now. Why would you then do a gameplay reveal of your flagship game, as it is? Besides God of War, it's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you just fill this showcase with, I don't know, that Splatoon knockoff and the other crap, and your headliner could be Final Fantasy or whatever, and even though this multi-platform, it's not really a thing, and then just save Spider-Man for this, you know, the megatons, right?
Yeah.
The megaton showcase later. That's the bullshit. This is what they had, and if you look at it, that's why they intersperse it with indies and stuff. That it's padding. I mean, Nintendo's guilty of the same thing. Everybody does it. It's like, oh, look at this AAA title. Okay, here's the indie corner, and then it's like they're all sandwiched between like, oh, here's what Square Enix has, and then here's some guy in his garage with Unreal 5 made this. Oh, and here's Spider-Man. You know?
Yeah.
They don't have much.
I mean, that's the thing for me. My expectations were, let's see what Sony is cooking, and what Sony was cooking was Spider-Man, and as far as just Sony is concerned, it was Spider-Man, which is great. We all loved it. Well, at least most of us loved it. And then there was the live service games that we didn't even get gameplay for from the new studios. So and then Marathon announcement, but those games are not going to come out this year, and they're probably not going to come out next year. So it's just we don't know what the state of PlayStation is these days, except for one of their bigger titles, and that's it. And I kind of wish we would have gotten more. But yeah, I agree with everyone. It's I don't think they're holding up, because if there is a game to hold up, it is Spider-Man. And what was the point of doing this conference? You could have just done another conference later in the year for adjacent to the PlayStation 5 Pro or Slim unveil.
Does anybody know? Go ahead, Chris.
Oh, well, the only other thing is like, it's not just, you don't just do these showcases for us, right? It's also for investors. If you were timing this right, the end of the first quarter of the fiscal year is the end of June. So you had time. You didn't have to do this, even like Carlos said, you didn't have to do this showcase. You could have waited till that showcase or Jeff Keighley's event and lay out everything there. If you really had all this secret sauce, right? Let's just use the terms that always go around. And then just boost your first quarter numbers at the end instead of this. But it's like, that tells me they didn't really have anything.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I forgot what the question was.
So
go ahead, Brett.
What is the, like, I kind of want to turn around. Like, what is the logic behind the idea that Sony wouldn't show their stuff during a first-person conference, but then hand it off to Jeff Keighley?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. That was the question I was guys like. I don't what's the logic behind this? Like what are the reasons why Sony decided to quote unquote hold back? Can anybody tell me?
Yeah.
I don't know.
The biggest copium for this conversation
yes.
is they're holding back to announce some of the some big titles for the PlayStation 5 Pro.
Yeah. No.
But why would you derail your own showcases?
Yeah, this sounds like
delegitimize yourself.
Yeah, this sounds like crazy rationalization. That's what it sounds like to me. And again, we've heard these exact same comments from the other fan base. Interesting how that works,
Yeah, right. I mean, it's an inevitability, man. Like like I had said before, I'm becoming more and more convinced of this pet theory that I have, where it's just that they can't announce games as far out, and with increasingly long development times and canceled games, like it's just catching up to them, right? And we're going to have an adjustment period of, look, if we're not announcing things, if we're not going to start announcing things 12 years out that may never happen, we kind of need to adjust, and that's going to, from our point of view, seem like there's just nothing. And I think both console makers are I think they're both going through that. I think Xbox has been going through that. Hopefully we're coming to the end of it, and I think Sony is just kind of coming into it now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think you're right about that, Brett. That's a good point.
We got the announcement of Factions or whatever the hell that Last of Us multiplayer game is going to be called. Is, I guess, indefinite delay.
Yeah, we got a question about that too. By the way, Carlos, the same graphic, and we saw that graphic twice in one day. Right?
We did
with Gollum, right?
Gollum, and then this, like, shit.
Gollum misspelled the name of the game in their apology.
Yeah, they did.
Wow.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Now I know why the game came out like that. You can't even spell it in a fucking tweet. Jesus.
Well, that and also the blatant misspellings within the game for all their DLC, which is all but such the stuff they ripped out of the game.
Not to derail the conversation, but this is another problem I have with this generation, right? The games that are actually made for current gen games are fucked up. Gollum, Gotham Knights, Redfall, Jedi Survivor. Like, what is going on here? So you're telling me I should be excited for these fucking broken ass games? This generation is fucking terrible. It's like, okay, not only are big AAA games few and far between, but half of them are fucked up and jacked up. Like, what is going on here? Cyberpunk, exactly. Like, Jesus, man. Anyway, go on. I just had to bring that point home.
Yeah, just going back to the main question. They're not holding back. I know you might think they are, but just think about this. If you're a hardcore Sony guy and you think they're holding back, you were saying the same thing about Microsoft last year at the end of the year when they did the whole no show for the VGAs. Yeah. So they don't do it. If they have stuff to show, they're going to show it, because this is the first, like Tony mentioned, this is the first PlayStation showcase we've gotten in 2 years. We've only gotten those state of plays, and that's it. And I'm pretty sure that whenever this PS5 Pro is going to be announced, it's going to be a state of play, because we're not going to get a PSX. It's been, it feels like it's been a decade now since the last PSX.
Yeah, real quick, I want to chime on something Ace Ali said. I'm going to do it kind of in backwards order because it makes sense here. He goes, we know PlayStation is holding back. We've seen the games, and the games in question are Wolverine, Rise of the Ronin, that's Mutant Ninja Turtles, Factions. Yes, but if there's no updates, what are you going to say? You're going to have another Wolverine logo,
Again, I'm going to repeat this idea here. Like, Wolverine is not 2 years or less away, right? That shit is still a leg off.
Yeah.
Right. That's the project after Spider-Man. And they are done announcing projects that far in advance. We know that they're working on it, but they're not going to tell us something every year for 5-6 years anymore. The market has clearly reacted very poorly to that. That's fine. That's great. We should, Cyberpunk was a changing moment, man. Like, it changed so much. Not just because, not in our eyes. Like, in our eyes, it was, yes, this colossal fuck up and everything like that, but it was a wake-up call to investors and companies as to how they do their business and engage with their customer base. And they decided a major change needed to happen. And now here we are.
Yeah.
It's not the same as it was.
Yeah. Jay Shep doesn't like that we think. But he says, by the way, thinking Sony is holding back is a normal ass thought. I disagree. I completely. And he also says, if you think Sony is holding back, you must be a Sony fanboy. LOL. Love this narrative, dude. Again, we've heard Xbox say the same thing, man. Like, it comes from the same place. You know, like, you're very excited. I'm not saying you. I'm talking about the people who say this. Very excited for this, showcase. They don't get what they want, so they gotta start thinking of reasons why it didn't come out the way they wanted. We've seen this before from the Xbox side. You know?
In their defense, like, there's a half truth kind of buried in there, and people just kind of take it too much. Like, the idea is like, yes, there are, on both sides, on Microsoft and Sony, there are things that they are working on that they have not told us about, right? That is a very true statement, and has always been true since the beginning of time. Somebody's always got something in development that they haven't announced yet. Your new favorite author is probably writing a book that they haven't talked about yet, right? Like, it's just a thing that happens. I feel like the point, at least for me, maybe I'm just beating a dead horse, or maybe I'm not getting hurt here, but like, they've changed it from telling you everything that's in development to only telling you things that are coming up in the next 2, maybe 3 years.
See, by the way, Kishak says right here, maybe they didn't want to show us something that we aren't getting anytime soon. Yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly the point.
Exactly.
That's what Cyberpunk changed.
Yeah.
We heard about that game for 10 years, right? They set themselves up to fail, like historically. Companies are not going to do that, and they're going to shy the other way. They're like, well, shit, I don't know, maybe we should only mention something if it's coming before 2025. Yeah,
exactly.
If you're a regular ass consumer like we are here in the show, like you are the listeners, and you're and you go to the PlayStation showcase and you're disappointed, and you say that they're holding back because of X, and you have no evidence to support your case, or no inside knowledge, or none of any of that, then I don't know how to take that seriously.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but hold on. Just because you have things in the pipeline that isn't ready to be shown, and you don't show it, doesn't mean you're holding back. You're just not ready to show it. I don't understand how not ready to show something is holding back. That makes no sense. So would you prefer
have to show?
Yeah, would you prefer logos? Would you just do it like Nintendo? Just throw logos? Is that what you want? Like, I'd rather just not say anything. You know?
Yeah, I mean, but that doesn't detract from the core issue here that both consoles haven't been showing a lot, right? So the problem comes, like, it's fine not announcing projects that are far out, as long as you have projects that aren't far out to announce in the meantime, right? So it's, I think people are oversimplifying the issue and then going hard on the one angle from it. And there's several different factors.
By the way, I agree, and I do agree with what Ace Ali said. I just think that it's bad framing to say PlayStation doesn't have anything. Yes, I think that is bad framing. I think it's more correct to say PlayStation has certain projects it isn't ready to show yet. That is a better way to frame it, you know? But again, just because they have things in the pipeline that aren't ready to be shown yet doesn't mean they held back. Again, what would you have preferred they do? Like what EA did at that one fucking E3 where it's just a bunch of like documentary style like fucking trailers. I even hesitate to call it trailers because it was literally just the developers in front of their screens working on computers. You know,
because they couldn't show
models. You know,
because they couldn't show anything. Number one, and they didn't want to have it. They didn't want to have the empty space.
Yeah.
Mind you, those games that they did those little documentaries for, none of those games came out.
Yeah, exactly.
One was the Amy Hennig Star Wars game. One of them was something else. All of those games didn't even come to fruition.
That's right.
That's part of the reason why you're not, like, I think in general, the part of the reason why we're not seeing things is because they don't want to get people's hopes up and then all of a sudden, not be able to serve it. Look at that fucking Gollum game. That Gollum game is a fucking old game. That shit was announced back when it still had fucking Andy Serkis, like looking like the New Line Cinema shit.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Shadow of Mordor was around when that point, when the first Shadow of Mordor came out, when that was around when that thing was announced, and we're still just as confused. A Gollum game?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Microsoft. Again, game development is not like movie development. It's two totally different things, man.
Yeah, it's a fine. The thing about it is, it's obviously it is definitely a fine line between announcement and games coming to fruition. And there's so many things that have been announced and never have come. So I'm thinking again. Yeah, I think you're right about it, is that they are most definitely playing it safe, and then they're filling in the blanks with a bunch of just because they want to have space, they want to have look like they have a bunch of games. But when the showcase, it's really when the actual showcase, which is the PlayStation showcase, which is supposed to showcase the PlayStation games, right? Isn't that what it was originally for? When it really doesn't. When they barely have anything to really showcase, and they fill it up with everything else that like, why is there a Final Fantasy two old Final Fantasy commercials, like trailers? There's one for like a slightly edited version for 7-2, and another version of the one that's coming out with what number is that? 16?
16.
Yeah, 16. Yeah.
And another version of 16. Did you really need to waste people's time with that?
Yeah.
Or
even the guys even the guys here who are hyped for it were like, again.
Yeah, we don't need this.
Again.
Final Fantasy 16, one of mine was hype games of the year. I didn't need to see this damn trailer. It's a waste of time.
we know it's coming, and the thing about
same thing with Street Fighter 6. Waste of time. We know this is coming.
Especially if it's not doing anything to forward anything forward. Like in those trailers, did you see anything you didn't see before? What, that stupid dragon thing? You didn't need to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something Blitz said, which is I 100% agree with. Showcases for talking about all your big shit. State of play is smaller games or focus. Yeah, I said
exactly.
If this was called PlayStation State of Play, the reaction would not have been as visceral, because you know coming in, okay, we're not going to get to the big stuff. Cool,
Yeah. So now they essentially went against their own setup, their own programming by essentially doing this. So yeah, I don't know. I just think if they're waiting, obviously they obviously have things in the waiting in the wings. But again, it's probably too early to be showing any of that stuff. And then so what are they left with?
Yeah,
a bunch of indie games and maybe 2 official exclusives.
Yeah, Kishak, you're right. Yeah, state of plays are naturally pretty short. Yeah, you could have condensed this to 30. I've said this again. I'll repeat myself. What should have happened is have a dedicated Spider-Man showcase extended by another 10 minutes, because showcases are usually about 20 minutes, right? Have a Spider-Man showcase, then you trim this shit down to 30 minutes for a state of play. That's it. Then you would have 2 shows, 2 for the price of 1.
Yep.
You could have included the live service games at the very beginning and just done like 10 minutes of those. But yeah. I will say this, going back to the obvious, Sony's obviously has things cooking. We know they have games coming up, or they're working on. There's always that pipeline. But if there wasn't something ready to be shown, then they won't show it. If they did, they would have showed it. They would have, if they had something for Wolverine. You think they're gonna bounce Wolverine to show that stupid Splatoon or Minecraft knockoff?
Fair games, they're gonna be showing some motherfucking Wolverine.
Yeah, exactly. If you're somehow holding things back, why would you bump it for garbage like that stuff?
Yeah, exactly.
Like if you're gonna bump some shit, you gotta fucking put some real thing in there, like, oh shit, we got fucking like Metal Gear gameplay, and it's like some real stuff to put in there, as opposed to like, hey, look at this, we got this.
And by the way, Manny, that Metal Gear 3 remake isn't going to come out anytime soon, is it?
No, it's not. Why? The proof is in the pudding. Well, we'll talk about it later, but the proof is in the pudding. Because of what's releasing this year, and people didn't get that. Mm-hmm. There's called the what is it? The Master Collection, right? Which is Metal Gear Solid, Metal Gear Solid 2, and Metal Gear Solid 3, and a mysterious question mark 4th game, right? Thing is, that's coming out this year. That means that the remake's not coming out this year. How are you going to sell two of the same game in the same year?
Yeah,
They're both the original, the original HD remaster plus the remake. No, the remake's coming in either coming in 2 years or a year.
Yeah, exactly.
Something like that.
Yeah, real quick, J Shep goes, this is what I don't understand. They could have just made a trailer for Wolverine instead of nothing at all. You can't just make a trailer. That takes money too, dude. That takes,
Well,
resources.
I mean, what do you want? Another CG trailer?
Yeah, that's all you would get. You would get another CG trailer. Like,
They're
would
not
you
gonna,
want that?
Yeah, they're not going to thing about it is like, look at what they did with Spider-Man, right? We only had one other trailer before this.
Yeah.
The one where you just see Venom for a few seconds and a couple of different voiceovers. The second trailer you saw was this shit. Just the one you just saw.
Yeah, J Shep says yes, he would have preferred another CG trailer because that's better. Like, fair enough. That's
that's
I personally would not want to see that, but if you want to see that, that's perfectly fine.
I
respect the honesty, my brother.
I will say this: if Wolverine is coming out next year, then yeah,
it ain't dropping next year.
No.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm saying that's what I'm saying. If it were to come out next year, give me that CG trailer. Put the date 2024. Boom. Headlines. Crazy. I'm hyped. You're hyped. Everyone's fucking hyped. It's Insomniac. But if it's not going to come out anytime soon, and we don't know this, if it's not going to come out anytime soon, you're going to Last Guardian the game. Or you're gonna Final Fantasy 16 for us right now. It's like, all right, I just want to play the game now. So
yeah, I mean, I feel like there's a saturation point for how many times you can pull the same sort of trick. CG trailer, some gameplay, footage, or like a montage of story and gameplay footage, and then something like you just can't keep on doing all of that stuff over and over and over again. I think people are going to get sick of it as people are getting sick of seeing Final Fantasy 16 trailers.
Yeah, guys who are hyped for this shit. Getting sick of it. But we've seen this before. Remember fucking No Man's Sky? You get a trailer every fucking month and shit. I'm like, who cares? Anyway, let's move on because we still got a lot of questions.
Yeah.
And by the way, Adam snuck in. What's going on, man?
What's going on, man? You still talking about this shit?
Yeah, we're still talking about it, man.
People, you remember, this is the fan question show.
Are they? It doesn't sound like questions. It sounds like rants. Like people just upset. It's like, what can we do? I mean, shit. This is what they got. You go to someone's house. Like, is this the only DJ you got? This is the only DJ. DJ no throws, no requests. He was cheap. This is all we got. You're gonna be listening to the same shit on repeat. What? He's not even using turntables. He got an iPod. Just shut up, drink the cheap beer, and that's it.
That's my man in Staten Island.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's move on here. Another one from Mr. J Shep. During the Spider-Man 2 gameplay reveal, we were able to get a glimpse at the symbiote Spider-Man suit. I think we got more than a glimpse.
We got more than a glimpse.
Yeah. I like how it looks organic, and it appears that the gameplay will match that. But the suit itself looks like ass. So you like the organic part, but you think it looks like ass. He goes, I'm particularly interested in Tony and Manny's take on this one, being that you're avid comic fans. I think the suit looks fucking dope. I like the fact that you see all that organic stuff on it.
I think it's interesting. It looks, to be honest, it feels a lot more like Alien the movie.
Yeah.
Like he sort of has hard surfacey looking stuff, but he also has this kind of goop, like this veiny looking shit in between it.
Yeah. One thing, and this is something movies have taught us about comic book costumes. Back in the day, they used to literally just have people in spandex. It looked stupid, right? But in like the last 20 years, they would have the costume, but with like all this cool texture on top of it because it looks better, So that's what, like, if you just had the plain black costume, it would look cool in a game, but like adding all that extra stuff makes it look, like you could almost touch it and feel it, and I think that's what they were going for. And it still looks like the costume. It's just, it has all this other cool stuff going on in it. So I think it's dope. I like it, and like Manny said, it makes it look more alien,
Yeah. And then, I mean, I would say, I don't say I like it, but I understand it.
Yeah. And I also noticed like the eyes are flush with the costume. They're not, because in the comics they kind of look like they stick out a little bit in the
no, they're recessed in this new one.
Yeah, very interesting. But like they also kept changing too. It's really
That's kind of
cool.
like, but the recessed eyes are kind of like what the Venom movie does, where essentially the eyes, the skin, the kind of goopy skin, and then there's like it's recessed behind the thing.
Yeah. What about the rest of you guys? What do you think of the Venom costume?
It's all right. I'm sure we'll get more, just like all the other ones. The Spider-Man, there's different outfits that you could swap out. So I'm sure this is just the default one, but it was fun. It was cool. I mean, I don't know what he said of the glimpse. I mean, right off the bat, we saw the tentacles coming out. We saw all the dumping everybody around and shit. It was cool.
Yeah,
it was
cool.
cool.
Crazy.
I liked it too. I'm kind of hoping we see teeth come out of it. I like the little line he had at the end.
Yeah, man. He said, "I got teeth too."
Too. And I was like, oh shit, we're gonna see the Venom teeth. The attacks look cool. The suit looks good, and it fits with the game world. Like it has some bulk to it. It's not just spandex like the original black suit was. It's just all skin tight stuff. So that's neat. I think it looks like I loved the old black costume from the comics, way back when. It's like many people do, and he wanted to see it in games for a long time. And even the first Spider-Man game, they're like danced around it, I guess maybe because they wanted to put it in here. So they never gave you that suit. They gave you all sorts of other suits from the comics, like the stealth suit and all this shit, but they never gave you that suit. So it's cool. I think they did a good job with it.
Manny, you had that figure. Remember that? That black one. I remember
he's just showing it off right now.
Yeah, he's holding it.
Yeah, he's holding it.
That's it. That's the original. That's the black costume.
Adam, what's wrong with you?
Is that the same
one?
one?
You had it. He's been holding it for a minute.
No, I'm not looking at the window. It makes me nervous when I look at it.
He's talking about the old Secret Wars one. Yeah,
He had like this. The early edition. Remember, they didn't really have much articulation, but they were very detailed.
I still have that. I have the Iron Man, and I have Wolverine, and Black.
They were like a thick rubber, and we could just do a bashing and no issues with them. They never got loose. They were really cool. But I remember that was a big deal. I'm like, oh shit, you got the Black Spider-Man?
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead. Any more thoughts on Spider-Man's costume?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan of it, but I understand why it exists, and I think it'll grow on me. I feel like like the same sort of thing happened with with the white on the the PS4, PS5 Spider-Man.
Hold on, leave it there. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it sort of grew on people,
Yeah, it looks cool.
Definitely, it definitely gives it its own. It definitely fits with the visual language of the game where they have that sort of paneling and texturing. So I mean, and it differentiates it enough from the comic books and whatever's been done in the movies to where I'm like, okay, I'm not like totally sold on it, but I'll play the game and see what happens.
Yeah, but that costume grew on you eventually. You bought the figure, Oh, Manny, you.
Your sound audio.
Yeah. But this is actually the current one. They actually slightly adjusted it for the new game. But yeah, I know. I thought it was cool. Like the extra white on it looked interesting.
I mean, look how many representations of that suit has been in media and stuff. When they did the Tobey Maguire movies and they put the suit in there, and I was like, it's just all black.
Then everything had raised webs.
The patterns, the raised patterns.
Then
it's like I never liked that suit.
Yeah. All right, good stuff. All right, another let's keep moving here. Mob Hits, who's also joining us in the chat. Why, related to Spider-Man, why did so many games at the PlayStation showcase, including Spider-Man 2, look so last gen? Very interesting. And here's the thing, just from the jump, right? The days when we went from like PS2 to PS3, or even PS3 to PS4, those shits are gone, man. You're getting diminishing returns, right? Like, to me, Spider-Man 2 looks fucking awesome, but it's not as big of a jump as you saw previously. That's just kind of the way it is now. On when it comes to visuals, you're just getting less and less returns. So that's why games may not look as next gen, because we're not gonna get games that look like CG. Unfortunately, it's just not how it is.
And if that was possible, it wouldn't be on console. That'd be straight to PC with the hardware. That's so.
I mean, it's kind of possible. Like the things modders can do, I just absolutely never cease to astound me, man. Like,
on PC, that's what I'm saying. On PC.
On PC, but even then, some of it could run on console. Like here's my thing. Like, I games haven't really advanced much since like 2016, right? Like, and I don't think it's a coincidence that's kind of when the game industry really was just super lopsided. Like, nobody's been challenged. The status quo is what it is, man. There's not, as much as I hate to say it, like a conspiracy theory, like, why should they? What's their motivation? Like, why should anybody be pushing the boundaries on a lot of stuff? The industry as a whole has been kind of sitting back on its heels, collecting cash.
But what would you want to see? Like, what kind of visuals? We're not going to get live action, or else it would just be a movie. Like, what would
we
blow
tried
your
that already? FMV, you know.
That's what I'm saying. It's no good. It's like the Germans say, no bueno. So what would you really want? What would blow your mind? Like how's this? Depth. It's just depth. That's it.
Character models that don't have anything clip, that have collision detection on their own equipment. How about somewhat destructible environments, if not completely destructible environments?
Well, again, a lot of that stuff takes a lot of memory. The thing about it is that, if you're there's so much you have to leverage in a game environment. Not only just AI, the weight of your character models, all that sort of stuff. I mean, in an ideal world, yeah, you want to have high resolution models that don't do any of that stuff, but again, that takes a lot of calculation that probably, is a lot further off than you think it is.
Yeah. Mob Hits goes, what I do want to see fucking next-gen games. Isn't that the reason we bought these fucking consoles? No, I 100% agree with that. But the problem is you're not going to see those big diminishing returns. Like,
what do you count as a next-gen game?
What I count as a next-gen game? Well, unfortunately, the only criteria I have right now is games that only run on current-gen systems. That's the only criteria we have right now, But here's the thing. By the end of this generation, you're going to see games that look better than they did at the end of the PS4 generation. But we're just getting these little upticks, just like we got last gen. Like when we went from PS3 to PS4, we were like, this isn't that much of a jump. It was a bigger jump than now, but we didn't see it. But by the end of it, it's like, oh shit, this looks crazy. It's just, we just get gradual little steps up now instead of just like big leaps.
And the other thing is you also got to realize that a lot of graphical stuff is also a lot of smoke and mirrors in a game engine. What shaders you got running on and all kinds of other stuff that give it that little bit of extra push. It gives you the idea these things are better than they actually are.
Yeah. Yeah. J Shep goes, what game this gen has been the most next gen game? The fact I can't answer that right away kind of lets you know, man.
Possibly Ratchet and Clank.
That's the only one that comes to mind because of the zipping shit they do, but even visually it looks fucking awesome, but it's not that big of a leap.
Like think of the last wow factor of any game, and the only one that comes to mind every time I think of it is Dead Rising. Just seeing all those zombies on screen, and that's what I think of. I was like, well, if something's gonna wow me, it's just got to be more happening on the screen. Like a Call of Duty, just having hundreds of people, bombs, planes, it's like chaos.
Yeah.
And when we saw this Spider-Man, trailer, I mean, it looked next gen because here it is, especially the part where he was attached to Genki and the little drone, he was zipping and sliding on water, seeing the water effects, seeing the building,
that was crazy.
Seeing all that flash with no lag or delay, and it wasn't a cutscene. There was gameplay. You're playing that. To me, look next gen because there's a lot happening on screen, and to me, that's next gen. A lot happening.
And I think it's a good way of putting it. I'm like, how much shit can you throw on the screen without everything turning into a mess? That's a really good criteria. And by the way, just real quick, the most next gen shit I've seen, ironically, is not a game. It's the Unreal Engine 5 demo. That looks fucking crazy. But how long is it going to take until we get games that look like that?
That Matrix was awesome.
Yeah. And the thing about
the Matrix is crazy. Yeah.
And the thing about it is that in that situation, those models that there are in that demo are all like ultra high resolution models because you understand that when you're modeling characters, you're doing alternates. You'll do your high resolution model, and then what you do is you retopologize it into a lower polygon version, and then you create your additional, like your normal maps and all that other stuff on top of it to give it the look that it's more high resolution. In fact, the one in Spider-Man, in the previous in all the Spider-Man games, if you remember ever go into photo mode and notice that your PlayStation 4 revved up, you want to know why that is? It's because they're switching the asset to the high resolution full motion video asset. You know, not full motion video, but the cinematic asset, which has a lot more polygons per capita than the actual in-game model to keep the same, play ability. You're not running Spider-Man at a high resolution. You're running him at a lower resolution, but it looks higher resolution because of all the tricks they're doing on top of it.
I do think that Spider-Man 2 clearly looks better. I don't think it's a generation as big of a generational leap as I think a lot of us would have liked. The interesting thing about that scene that you guys are talking about, that seems like a really Naughty Dog level.
Yeah,
more than
very naughty dog.
But to be fair, though, Spider-Man, the first one, had those same type of scenes too.
Yeah, with the
Rhino
bar,
those very scripted scenes. Yeah.
But I mean, the one thing about it is I'm gonna say this about the Spider-Man, like all the versions of the previous Spider-Man game and
all the webs.
I mean, like, to be honest, though, that game also had a literally high fidelity level, like on a PlayStation 4. Before they put all the ray tracing bullshit on it from the 5 version, like that game looks really good. Like, regardless.
Yeah, Spider-Man. Yeah, you're right. Spider-Man already looked good.
Same thing with Miles Morales. Like, to be honest, like the reason why you don't see that much of a jump from it is because it already looked fucking awesome on the previous console. They just added some extra hair and some ray tracing on it and called, they're like, all right, we're doing that now.
Yeah. I do want to bring up an adjacent point that I saw people complaining about. And to me, it's fucking dumb. People are literally complaining about the fact that in a Spider-Man game, you're in New York. I wish I was kidding about that. Like, they're just reusing the same environment again. Yeah, no shit.
Actually, they are probably not using the same environment.
No. I'm saying it's the same. You're still going to have the Statue of Liberty. You're still going to have the Empire State Building.
And the Freedom Tower.
Yeah, you're still going to have that stuff. And they showed, like, hey, here's a scene from Spider-Man, Miles Morales, that homeless shell or whatever. And it's in the game, too. So, yes, you Manny, not the same assets. You're using the same locations. Obviously, because it's fucking New York City. What do you expect?
It's the same locations. Like, it's not like, to
be honest, why is it the same city? It's Spider-Man. He doesn't swing around fucking Cleveland.
Here's the thing. I'm going to say this is what I think is going to happen. I think because of the console, you could possibly have a little bit larger of a Manhattan. And if you notice, they sort of gave little ideas as to 2 other boroughs, possibly Queens, and which you actually have gameplay in, and in also Brooklyn, which it had another character down there. So my guess is they're expanding the Manhattan map and then giving you Queens and Brooklyn.
He has to go home to Queens. They have to do it.
Yeah. There we go. 59 minutes.
That was my biggest complaint about the Spider-Man game. I'm like, this motherfucker's from Queens. He keeps talking about it, but you can't fucking go over the bridge.
Uncle Ben was buried in Manhattan? Really?
No, they wouldn't have buried his ass in Manhattan. He would have been buried in Queens next to Aunt May.
Yeah, and she was buried in Manhattan too. Like,
off the Grand Central, there's a bunch of cemeteries over there. You don't think they would have put Uncle Ben there?
Yeah, come on now. So but again, they were just limited. So
they were limited.
Yeah, but I found that so stupid. They're just reusing the same environment. Yeah, no shit. It's New York, dumbass.
But and also, by the way, there's only in their fake New York, there's only one cemetery, and it's up in Harlem.
It's in Harlem. Yeah, like there's a cemetery up there.
Come on. But by the way, when they showed the Queen shots, I immediately went, nope, that's not right.
Yeah.
They literally had this big high rise next to a bunch of little tiny buildings. Nope, that's not how Queens ever has worked.
Yeah, no, it's not like that. And even like they had the establishing shot, those three kind of chimney stacks in like Long Island City, like that's cool. But then when it goes down, you see like just suburban homes. Like Long Island City doesn't have those.
No, Long Island City does not have that.
Yeah.
Like you're
like,
not.
You got to go up a little bit. Like no.
Yeah.
We don't have little homes like that. Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. Like you get to Astoria. You
go north a little bit. Then Astoria has those.
A little bit. You go a little further out of Long Island City. That's where you get it.
Yeah.
But not like not in that area. No.
Yeah. Nope.
But again, we know the city. So
the best game to pull it off was Grand Theft Auto 4. The way they had a lot of them, they condensed a lot of it, but we saw what they were going for, and we're like, I remember taking the cab all the way to Coney Island, and it was there. I was like, oh, look at this.
Yeah, well, you start off at Coney Island. Grand Theft Auto 4, and just like Spider-Man, Adam, I want to get your take on this. It's not 1-to-1, but it feels like the city.
It feels it, and that's enough. Yeah. Everything is all feels like
they gave you, to be honest, like Grand Theft Auto gave you a Manhattan-esque place. Yeah. They gave you Queens and Brooklyn and part of New Jersey.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, you don't get Staten Island though.
No, that don't count.
That shit don't count. Oh man. All right, good question. I like that one. Moving on here. Another one from Mr. Mob Hits, and you're in the room right now, so you could elaborate on this if you want. His question is just: are you guys tired of all these PlayStation toe dips?
Oh, you mean you mean they're not a handheld?
Oh God, the Project
Project Q. Is it L? What is it?
It is Project Q. But I like. I like Brian's name. Project L.
No, but I mean, I was just like you had the Vita. This could have been the remote device for the fucking PS5. You had it. And you discontinued it, and now you're gonna make this shit, which looks like a mobile phone sandwiched with a dual sense. Give me a break.
It's gonna get
Isn't it
worse.
that Bones? Isn't that Bones thing too? The one that literally.
Yeah, that extends over your phone.
You put your phone in, and once it automatically detects, and it just works seamless with that app, with the Game Pass app, with all of those. It's awesome. And what's going to be a big issue is once they announce the price, because I could see the memes, I could see the videos, because it's going to be a
$300 streaming device.
Exactly, and people are going to compare it to the ROG, the Steam Deck. I mean, things that can do that
by
and
itself,
everything else. That's it. They're like, why throw your money on this when these other devices, for whether it's comparable or even less, can do more? It's dumb. But you're buying it for the name brand, you might as well go buy a damn Gucci bag then, if that's what you care about.
And it's going to be $300 because that's what Logitech is charging for their streaming handheld, $300.
But nobody's paying for it.
It'll be $300 to $400.
Oh my God! Can
you imagine? That's $400. $400. That's crack rock.
No.
Well, let's just look at their stupid VR helmet. That's a $500 VR helmet when literally companies sell VR helmets. MetaQuest or a bunch of the other ones sell comparable headsets.
Yeah, but that's actually VR. There's tech in there. This is just a screen with controls.
Well, I'm saying
streaming. That's all it's doing.
I'm saying there's gonna be PlayStation fucking tax on
it. Yeah, right.
There's gonna be PlayStation tax because they can charge it. That's what it's going to be.
Did anyone? I just want to do a what do you call it? A survey here. Did anyone see a Pro Stick Duo slot on this thing?
Not that
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Okay. No, I'm just saying, like, that would be so old Sony doing that Pro Stick Duo shit, fucking up. Yeah, it's we talked about this when there was the rumors going on. It's like, is this going to be just a streaming device? It seems kind of stupid because don't people have phones? But
right back at them. Yeah, it's like.
They should have, man. Everyone is doing it. And that's and Mob Hits. That great question. That's the whole thing. It's like everyone is doing their thing. Nintendo did it. Steam did it. ROG's doing it. Everyone is getting into the whole craze, And Sony, the slightest of dips of the toes.
Yeah, just a little bit of the toe.
But not even. It's almost like how can we do that? Make lots of money with little work and never really have to go further. Because remember, that was the whole issue that they had with the Vita. It's like we thought we were going to get a 1-for-1 port, and they weren't. They were all modified versions of Uncharted and other games. And I was like, oh, that sucks then. It's still not exactly what we want. And then they gave up on it. So it's like, I think this is it. This is as far as they'll ever go. Even if this becomes a hit, I don't see them taking that next step. It's like, all right, now we're going to give you a full-fledged.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think you're going to get that either.
Yeah, so it's like, this isn't a toe dip. This is just a cheap cash grab to see if they can do it. I'm like, you think they'll buy this shit? I don't know. We got a bunch of extra screen people. You got those little controls. Yeah, we can stick them on and make it look ugly. All right, do it. Do it. Slap that Sony PlayStation logo and put a big number on it. Let's make some money.
Yeah. All right, moving on here. Our first sponsored question of the night, people. So a very generous man who was banned from Twitter for a little bit called E-Man. Oh, man. He is sponsoring an extra question from Mr. Mob Hits here. So thank you, E-Man, whoever you may be. I'm glad you're back on Twitter, sir. Question is, what improvements do you want to see in Metal Gear Solid 3 Delta?
The biggest one would essentially be a rollover of the Metal Gear Solid 5 controls, where you had the ability to, where you literally have the ability to crouch, because you didn't have that ability to crouch in Metal Gear 3. Just all of those sorts of quality of life things. Now the question is, I would also like to see an improvement on changing camouflage. So currently, classically, Metal Gear Solid 5, you needed to go. Metal Gear Solid 3, you needed to go into the menu in order to switch out your camouflage to match the environment that you're in. So trying to figure out a way to be able to switch camouflage without having to do all this menu garbage, that would be great. So yeah.
I think I agree with that. Metal Gear Solid 5 controls. That'd be pretty cool. You
get the ability to crouch. You get all the, you get the, a lot of the, obviously moving giving it a more of a modern control scheme, because remember, Metal Gear Solid 3 had a lot of face button stuff. Yeah. We probably have to rework a lot of, the quick menus, but all of that sort of stuff has already been handled, and they already figured it all out for 5. So applying that to 3. And I think it'll be pretty good.
Yeah. What about the rest of you guys? What do you want to see in Metal Gear Solid 3 Delta?
Just want to have fun, man. I've done some crazy things recently this weekend regarding Metal Gear, and I'm not gonna talk about it just yet. I'm gonna wait till we get an actual release date, and then there's something that I'm gonna be doing during every Throwdown until it launches. I had to special order something just in case, because I was like, well, once we get this date, this will be the new thing till it releases. So
wait, is this? I know this is a huge tease for the fans, but are you going to tell us behind the scenes? Because
maybe not. I was going to make Manny involved, and I was like, I don't think he can go this far. So I was like, you know what? Let's just hold back. But I'm excited. Delta, whatever they came out explaining it, because Delta is not that's not the third letter in the Greek alphabet. So what's up with this? And they're like, oh well, with the trilogy and with the other stuff, and it means, what was it? It means growth or something, and some other whatever. Yeah, they were getting real deep with it. It was like, whatever.
Yeah, it's a very sort of overly explained Japanese explanation. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's definitely marketing. Marketing stuff.
It was dumb, but yeah, bring in that control system from Metal Gear 5, and let's just have fun with it. Make it look pretty. I can imagine it. We really haven't had many games that take place in a jungle setting. It's very difficult to do. I mean, Call of Duty tried it, and it just looks like a lot of greens and browns and mush all together. It doesn't look right. But if they can pull that off with current gen and all that stuff going on, it could be a fun time. Hell, I could even see some multiplayer in that if you get different skins and stuff, and it's start to sneak around in the jungle.
Well, Metal Gear Solid 3 also Substance Subsistence was also one of the was pretty much the first Metal Gear game to have the first iteration of Metal Gear Online. So,
See,
I mean, they could resurrect Metal Gear Online with it as well if they want to.
Mm-hmm.
As someone that wants Metal Gear 3 Delta to Snake Eater to be good, I hope that that's not the case.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Metal Gear Online, but a lot of people seem to like it.
Yeah.
I just want it to work out because, if it works out, they'll just start doing it for the other ones.
Well, yeah. Well, if this does well, would this mean that they would do, in other words, Twin Snake version of this or whatever, such a remake of Metal Gear Solid 1 or 2?
Yeah. Oh yeah, they definitely need it.
The other thing that they said the additions they were going to be doing was just like there was going to be some additions to the game. So like who knows if they'll put maybe content that was meant to be cut that didn't make it into 3, because every single game's got cut content. So.
Yeah.
But at the same time, what they said is they're adding things to it. Now they're also saying that they're also leaving all the voice acting and cinematics alone.
Yeah.
So
people are like, they're bringing them back. They're not bringing it back. I think it's just the same shit.
Yeah, it's going to be like Shadow of the Colossus remastered, I would say. Like where Shadow of the Colossus, remake or whatever you want to call it. That version, essentially, the underpinnings of the original game is still there. You still get all the same cinematics, you still get all the other stuff, you just have a really nice graphical update on top. And you can actually see it in the screenshots. Like the screenshots almost look like reauthored environments from the original game. Like all the places still, some of the fences and things all look bent the same. A lot of the other things are the same. So it looks like they're just like switching out a lot of, taking a lot of, like kind of like what they also did with Ratchet and Clank, the one that was based off of the essentially remake of Ratchet and Clank 1. Where they literally just took the environments from Ratchet and Clank 1 and re-arted them.
Yeah.
But it's the same environments. So it could be something like that. Or like the same environments, re-arted. All the assets, all the characters have all been changed and updated. So we'll see.
Yep. All right. Moving on here. We got... Okay, so I'm going to kind of combine these two questions. This is to make it and Kiss Shack. So I'm going to read both of them back to back, but they're both about the same thing. The current news is that Bungie has seen what Naughty Dog was up to with Factions 2, the Last of Us multiplayer, and was not impressed, leading to the game looking to be on the verge of cancellation. Is a Sony right to put so much faith in Bungie? And then I'm just going to read Kiss Shack's thing, and then we're going to answer it all together. The response to the Naughty Dog multiplayer game has been incredibly exaggerated and filled with negative news. It's evident that developers hesitate to disclose such information as it consistently leads to this kind of exaggerated reaction from gamers whenever a game gets canceled or modified. Unfortunately, some individuals are now unfairly pointing fingers at Bungie, holding them responsible for the closure of studios and game delays, casting them as the villains in this situation. However, it's important to remember that Bungie is simply fulfilling its duty of evaluating and making decisions as part of its job. No one knows live service games better than Bungie, and I think it also shows Sony is willing to change/cancel projects that don't measure up to the quality standards that they project themselves to be the gaming audience. Sony can't afford a Halo Infinite situation where the gaming population slowly dwindles because they can't keep up with making new content. The reputation hit to Naughty Dog like what happened to CD Projekt Red, Arcane, and Rocksteady. Do you guys think that gamers are just overreacting to standard industry operations, or should people actually be worried? So, yeah, basically,
yes,
overreact. Go ahead, Adam. What's your thought?
Yeah, overreacting. This is too much. Come on now. It's like it's the internet. This is it. Before this stuff has always happened. We just weren't privy to it because there was no internet. Now we hear about them like, oh, how dare they do this? This is business. This is what things happen. I'm not blaming them for anything. Yeah, they create something like, hey, what do you think? That's so good. Okay, well, yeah, this is, you can't blame them for everything that's going wrong with other things.
Yeah,
part of business.
Yeah, I do find it interesting how, like, because I think they just bought Bungie last year, right? And now Bungie's like making these big level decisions. Like, it kind of shows Sony's faith in them, you know?
Yeah, but then, what was it? That marathon didn't seem to be setting the world on fucking fire.
No,
so,
nobody wanted that. Nobody wanted that.
So yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I get Bungie. Bungie is considered the experts because they were able to turn around a piece of garbage into something that was decent. Yeah. But I wouldn't give everything to those guys.
Yeah. So what do you think, man? You think Bungie shouldn't be making these kind of decisions?
They were hired to essentially evaluate their game. So if that's what Jimbo thinks that they're good at doing, all right. But if this game comes out and it crashes and this factions thing comes out and crashes and burns, what does that say about Bungie?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. Go ahead.
Why would it reflect badly on them? They're saying it doesn't look up to par. So if it came out and was bad, then they'd be right.
No, but I'm saying, like, in other words, now the game has been, let's say the game is, the faction's been evaluated. It's been approved by Bungie. What does that say? And it still crashes and burns. What does that say?
Yeah.
They even if they approved it, right? At the end of the day, that gets laid at the feet of Naughty Dog. Because even if in my estimation, okay, this is a decent game, you release it to the public, they could have a completely different reaction. Mm-hmm. We could have a completely different reaction. No, Bungie doesn't know what we think, right? You put something out to market, you could go, well, the gameplay is good. This, it checks off all these boxes, and maybe they have standard boxes. Who knows? It's like, okay, the loot's even, there's good progression, there's not pay to win, blah blah blah. Okay, you did it, good job. And then it goes out there, and people are like, what is this shit?
Like, whatever.
At the end of the day, it doesn't affect Bungie either way. It's just like I guess with Destiny 2 under their belt, they have the clout to that. Jim Ryan goes, okay, you guys need to evaluate this and make sure that it's going to sell.
It's making money. That's the thing. Regardless of all the issues, server issues, Destiny 2 still brings in millions of people. So it's a huge install base that's playing on multiple platforms. So you have to listen to them. I mean, they have to have a voice of reason because it's like, well, look what they're doing. You can't undermine that. I would call them in too. It's like, if I'm working on something, like, hey, what do you guys think? And if they're like, oh, I think this is hot garbage, do something else. I'm like, yeah, well, I mean, how do you could say, well, I don't know, I think this is, but they have a winning formula that's been proven. So you got to take that in consideration.
Yeah. Well, I think that if it got to the point where they were asking for Bungie's approval or not approval, Bungie's opinion on it, I would think that there was internal conflict about this game from the Naughty Dog perspective.
Yeah, it could be.
It's very possible that they were like, they weren't sure about him and like, well, let's talk to the people who in our company that know
or even help. Maybe they just need help, and then help is stop from scratch. Stop. I
was gonna say that. I was gonna say now. Soon after that statement came out with the Gollum statement, Naughty Dog put out the statement that it's on indefinite hold. So maybe Bungie did more than evaluate. Maybe they played it and like, wow, you need to fix this. We need to come in here. You need some of our guys. This shit doesn't work. Maybe it has a ton of issues, and they're like, okay, we gotta help you work on this because this is not fucking releasable.
Yo, maybe that's you remember when Phil was talking about Redfall, and it's like, our internal reviews were telling us that this is going to be good, and this is like the complete opposite. It's like, no, fuck you, shut this shit down.
Yeah,
exactly.
What I find interesting about this is like, does Sony just want to completely overhaul this? And this is my question about it. Like, basically, I was under the impression that they were going to be like, okay, what we did in the factions, the first one, just do that again. Just take a bunch of assets from Last of Us 2, throw a bunch of people in a maps, and let them go crazy. So I'm guessing that they're probably like, you know what, that's not good enough. That model isn't good enough because like that was made 10 years ago, right? Where like multiplayer games were different, beasts than they are now. We've heard those rumors that they wanted to make this a live service game, for example, right? So I'm guessing that maybe this is just me speculating now, right? Like maybe Naughty Dog was going to do that. They were like, okay, let's just do what we did before. And then Sony was like, let's try to monetize this even more. Because yes, I realize that Factions is very well beloved by the people who play it, but that's not a big number. Let's just be honest here, right? So Sony's probably like, okay, how do we make this even bigger than it is now? And then it's like, oh, we got Bungie here. They made one of the biggest live service games out there. What do they think? So I think that's what's going on here. I think Naughty Dog may have started with their like, hey, let's just do what we did before. But then Sony was like, no, we need to really make more money off the shit. Think about it. This isn't a part of Last of Us 2. Like the first Factions was, this is its own separate game. They obviously want this to be big, so I think they're trying to maximize its potential by getting Bungie's input, So that's my take. Sure. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, that's my take on it. And Brett, are you there? See if he's around.
Yep, I'm here.
J Shep specifically wants your input on this because he says you think outside the box. So are you worried about Bungie having input into Sony's multiplayer games?
No, I'm generally kind of a fan of for lack of, I don't know what you would call it, cross talent pollination. Yeah. Like I think that's one of the things that Microsoft should be leveraging is experience from other game players. Like, okay, let's just call a spade and say what it is. We all want the next Fallout to be a joint effort with Obsidian. Like, come on, we all want Fallout Vegas, New Vegas 2. It's a thing that we want to happen. So I think that they should take it with a grain of salt because Bungie isn't the be-all, end-all, but I think they have a lot of experience in things like gunplay. Like, the guns in Destiny are just super fucking satisfying.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Now, as we've seen, there are companies that can, do a good game, do a couple of good games, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they know everything. And if they focus too much on what Bungie says, that they're going to get a very slim perspective. But overall, like, I think it's a good idea for them to... Because, just being honest, I don't think Sony knows what the hell they're doing with a lot of this stuff. And so to look at somebody and be like, well, I don't know, what do you guys think? Yeah, I feel like it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Unless, it goes out of hand. But we all know Sony just tends to toe dip and stuff. So.
Real quick, Kishak goes, would old factions survive in this climate with ADHD kids demanding updates every week? That goes to my theory. I think they were just going to put out what they did before, and Sony was like, yeah, that doesn't really fly in the current environment. We can't monetize that like the way... I don't think the old one was monetized. It was just free, wasn't it? Correct me if I'm wrong.
I thought it was just free.
Wait, for the Last of Us?
The old multiplayer.
Yeah.
I could have sworn, no, you had to buy packs and things like that.
Okay, so that's the question I was asking. So you could monetize...
It was like cards.
But that's the way you monetize shit back then. The way you do it now is a little...
You got a battle pass system. Yeah, battle pass system, and then,
Blitz says it had DLC up the ass. But again, that was the old model. I think they're like, let's just be honest, how do we Fortnite this shit, So I think that's what was going on,
Battle pass.
Yeah, all that,
That's it. That's what you do. Picking on everything.
All right, man. Moving on here. We got Lego Bro in the house. Are Xbox and PlayStation afraid to announce Megaton games? They always used to blow the fans away, but lately that has not been the case. We kind of dipped on this earlier in the show. It's like at Cyberpunk, they scared a lot of the industry, man. They're like, oh, shit, we really better not show something unless it's almost ready because we don't want to be in that, No,
back in the day, they'd throw a splash screen of some big-ass title that they know everyone's going to be hyped for and throw no date. And let that simmer and sit there for years. Not anymore.
Back in the day, they would just release fucking anything. Remember? I mean, we did 8 Days, The Agent, Scalebound.
Yep.
Oh, and all that stuff. Even The Last Guardian. The Last Guardian, I don't know how the hell it didn't get canceled, but it just kept going and going for over a decade.
Deep down, where's that? Like, come on, man.
But I do feel like they're more cognizant of the fact that, releasing these type of trailers is kind of detrimental.
Yeah.
It's just like how like Aliens, Colonial Marines, and Gearbox changed that you had to either announce that this is not gameplay you're showing early. You notice how trailers now it's like early alpha, not gameplay, blah blah blah. That's because Colonial Marines is the biggest fake out. Right? It was total bullshit.
Gearbox didn't even work on it. They were just
they outsourced it. Remember, they put their name on it, but they outsourced it, and it was total trash when it came out. The game did not look like the E3 version at all. And then Cyberpunk happened, and that's it.
Yeah. So I think they are a little bit more hesitant now. Because you're right. Before, they didn't give a fuck before.
I'm telling you, the way it is now on the internet, it's we want to know now. Hit me now. It's just too much. So they try to avoid the backlash.
Yeah.
Look, Beyond Good and Evil 2 could be considered a Megaton. Where's that?
Yeah. Yeah. Where is that? It's crazy. All right. Moving on here. Next question. In your eyes, what makes a Megaton game announcement? That's a fun question.
Oh, that's up to whatever game you're into.
Exactly. Yeah, that is so. Like for example,
very subjective.
I'm gonna use Riku as an example here, right? Like to him, E3, he doesn't really give a shit about those announcements. But Tokyo Game Show, that is his E3. All that shit is Megatons to him. But I do think if we're trying to be a little subjective about it, it is something that has like a wide ranging effect on the industry. Like, when Microsoft announced it was acquiring Activision, that's a fucking megaton. That is an ultra megaton. Same thing with the Bethesda.
Did you guys cover that update on that? On what happened with the CMA?
Probably. I don't know.
With the lawyer?
Well, not the last. The last show was just dedicated purely to the showcase. So.
Oh no! All right. So no one asked a question about that stuff that came out yesterday. Right.
Yeah. So yeah, but I agree with that. Game announcements, it's subjective. Like if you've been waiting for fucking Soul Reaver, another new Soul Reaver for fucking 10 years, like I have, you get that announcement, boy, that's a megaton for you. Yep. Jay Shep, he goes, no, please, not tonight. Yeah, don't worry, we're not gonna go with the acquisitions. They're good, bro. Oh man.
Yeah, I think it just really depends on the person, because I feel like a megaton for me would be different from a megaton with like Brett, maybe.
Yeah.
Unless it's like a mainline Bethesda game.
All right. So what's your megaton? Go ahead. What would be your megaton?
There's a lot. I mean,
Virtua Fighter 6. Man, I would lose my motherfucking mind. All
right. Yours is Virtua Fighter 6, Carlos.
I mean, if they show the Wolverine, I mean that would go crazy. If they would show like if Nintendo did announced the new Super Mario game, I would go crazy. If Halo's not that anymore, so we can skip that one. If they show the Elder Scrolls 6 game, that could be a megaton for me.
Okay. I hope all of you already know the answer for what
Gears Table Tennis 2.
Table Tennis 2. That would be, because that's out of left field. No one's talking about. And if that shit was coming, we know there's another Gears, but the Table Tennis is dead. It is a dead IP. And if they just come out of left field like, we got Rockstar Table Tennis World Tour, take my money, let's do it. I would be so happy. Just think, I'm going to start crying. God damn.
Yeah. All right, man. Moving on here. Another sponsored question. Very generous guy named Mr. Romudeth. He is sponsoring another J-Shep question. Xbox is bringing its showcase to 25 movie theaters for free for fans. Is anyone on the panel planning on going? Hell no.
So
I mean, it's a nice.
We're gonna waste your time watching fucking movie trailers and shit. Like, I don't know, it's dumb.
Unless you get something for showing up, because that's the new trend now. Now you get like special popcorn buckets, 10 buckets. I got a Mario one, and if they give you an Xbox looking one, it's like, oh, here you go, concessions, maybe. But no, I'm not sitting there for these.
Fuck that. I'm probably gonna be working anyway, so but I wouldn't be going. That's stupid.
So,
Manny, you muted.
I said it's free. Why not? But I mean, it's not something I'm really interested in going to see.
But the only thing this does, though, that piques my interest. I'm like, they go ahead, Carlos. They gotta have something. This is if you're doing this, you got something to brag about. This is something that you want to show.
That's a good point.
That you were like, yo, we're going to pay for these theaters, and that's not cheap. I tried looking into it to renting a theater for, because some of them say for birthday parties and stuff. Oh, rent that, how much? It's like $700 and shit. They're not cheap. So if you're gonna have a bunch of these across the country, maybe worldwide, I don't know if it's outside the U.S. That's a pretty penny. So they're doing this for a reason, especially when you consider that the person could just be sitting outside on their phone and watching the same shit.
Yeah. So yeah, no waste of time. All right, Alpha Chuck, right? Also kind of related to the last question. What are the odds of the Xbox showcase being better than the PlayStation showcase? What specific gameplay would they need to do to do so? Looking past that, what are the odds that the Xbox can deliver if they do manage a decent showcase? Like I said this before, man. Like PlayStation gave Xbox an easy layup. As long as they have really good games that are going to be coming out soon, they win, instantly. But again, Microsoft has this fucking problem. We've seen their roadmap. None of those fucking games came out. So you can't. So even if they have a crazy showcase, you can't trust these games are going to come out anytime soon.
The only thing I would expect is third-party big games, like maybe if EA shows off Skate, the new one, Skate 4. It's like, oh, okay, that's what people have been hyped for, so that'll get the buzz. That's multi-plat, but still, it's showcased their gameplay. The new UFC game that's been hyped about for forever, sports shit, and then that goes back to Xbox being a bro gaming console. But I don't see any first parties that are going to wow anybody unless they show some.
That has its own dedication.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That has its own thing. So unless they show off Gears and actually throw a date on it, that's the only other first party game that we know they've been working on and haven't heard shit about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Anybody else? No chance Xbox is going to beat PlayStation?
It's 50-50. I mean, Sony did not do anything to move the needle for me, and Microsoft is prone to fucking things up. So it's a coin flip for me.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say fucking things up. I'd say Phil Spencer set the tone for the rest of the year with the Redfall interview, post-Redfall interview. He said we're clearly in third place. I would think if they had at least some kind of glimmer of hope coming in this calendar year, he might have either hinted at it or just announced it just to diffuse the whole Redfall fallout, but he didn't at all. So I don't have high hopes. They'll not announce anything.
He really did paint a very bleak, picture for Xbox.
He was just pissed though. He should have canceled that interview. He shouldn't have done it, but then he would have got weird backlash from that too. So it's a no-win situation.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else have any more thoughts on Xbox showcase?
You kind of said the kicker where like you shouldn't really believe them until you see what comes out. I mean, the irony there is Phil Spencer said that. So like,
right.
I'm going to kind of believe Phil.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Moving on here. Dumeke. Right. So I'm going to just list this as he listed them. Smash Brothers, PlayStation All-Stars, Game Boy /DS, PSP /Vita, Mini NES /NES, PS1 Classic, Wiimote, PS Move, Splatoon, Foam Stars, Wii U, PSQ. And the question is, why does Sony keep chasing Nintendo ideas but doing such a shit job? What's next? God of War with Titan Mitt, an Ultra Hand knockoff, or Clank's Mansion? I love this question. He's right. Like, like they keep chasing that tail. It's true, And the only exception I take is the PSP and Vita. Those were fucking awesome. But you're right about the rest. PS All-Stars was ass. The PS1 Classic, the little bit, that thing was fucking awful. The PS Move controllers were bad. Foam Stars looks like shit. And PSL, it's like, yes, I'm calling it PSL. PSQ. You're 100% right about that, man. 100% right.
Just one thing about I agree for the most part. Is Foam Stars a Sony first party thing?
I'm not sure.
Oh, Square Enix, right?
I'm not sure,
Yeah,
but I
didn't. Square Enix, but I don't know if it's exclusive.
I didn't see it listed. You know how Xbox came out like, hey, we got these games too. You know, they didn't have it listed. Yeah, I didn't see it.
Yeah, it is Square Enix. So just to be fair, that's a Square Enix thing that they're copying. But yeah, everything else I do agree. Unfortunately, you know, the Vita cannot survive, and the PSQ is not going to be a successor. So yeah,
it'll be a collector's item. Something go, remember this shit? Yeah, I remember that shit.
I remember that bullshit. All right. Another one from Mr. Villa Kyle. Actually, first one from Villa Kyle. PlayStation has announced that they are allocating 60% of their game development budget to live service games. After seeing the first party offerings under the umbrella of this new strategy during the recent PlayStation Showcase, what is your opinion of this strategy? 60%.
It's not my world, but I see why they want to do it because
I understand
then
everybody's chasing Fortnite, man.
That's it. And then think about it. You just do little increments here and there. You don't have to go through the process of building a whole new game every year and stuff. Yeah, I mean, it looks very appealing, but it's none of those worlds I'm interested in. So it doesn't speak to me. Maybe it speaks to other people.
Well, not only that, but we didn't really get a good glimpse of the games. Like the Jade Raymond game, we just know it's a heist game that looks like Watch Dogs and stuff from just a CG trailer, and then the other one, I have no clue how that's gonna work. So it's just a whole bunch of you reacting to Rich's comment?
Yeah, that's what I'm laughing at. You already know. Flop stars.
Shout out to Rich. Is that flop stars? Yeah, it's We even a lot of us are predispositioned to not like these live service games. You can't even judge them as thorough because we haven't what the games are about and how they look and all that stuff. So it's kind of hard to to judge.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll have to see, but it's clear they're going in that direction. All right, another one from Mr. Villa Kyle. Okay, Embracer Group just had an earnings call and had to announce a $2 billion deal fell through. Seeing as Embracer manages over 100 studios and is considered a big player in the video game industry, can we get a financial breakdown from Chris similar to that of the big three, and what knock-on effect do you imagine a failing Embracer Group could have on the video game industry? We're not doing that. Like Chris puts in a lot of work with those main three, and if we start doing like these financial reports for like other publishers, it's going to be too much, But we, Chris, you have any thoughts on this? Because I think we could answer a question like, what do we think this could, how this could affect the industry?
I mean, Embracer Group is just basically like a hedge fund. They just bought up IPs that when THQ failed, right? And they had to auction off stuff. That's what Embracer Group just bought up, right? They became that entity.
Deep Silver and all that.
So they bought up all those things. But, here's the thing. It's like they're not dedicated to... I don't believe they were dedicated to gaming. I think they're just created to leverage IPs.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a difference, right? So when we talk about... either Xbox, like Microsoft's branch for Xbox, which is dedicated to gaming, or PlayStation, or Nintendo, which is almost entirely dedicated to gaming. Those are businesses around it. Embracer Group bought in the failings of THQ and then acquired all these studios, right? And they're just trying to leverage IPs for profit. So when they announce a loss, the worst thing that could happen is you have the fall of what followed THQ, right? You'll have a bunch of IPs. They will maybe, I don't know, they're not a American-based company, so they'd have to declare bankruptcy in Norway or Sweden, wherever they're based. And you'd have those IPs like sold off, right? Again, you'd have Saints Row and all that shit, Deep Silver and all these companies. Either studios dissolved and IP sold off, or the studios go under another umbrella, and maybe Microsoft be like, hey, come over here, hey. Or Sony or whoever can pick them up. But I think that's the worst case that could happen. Embracer Group is not going to like detonate the industry. if
No. They'll
fail.
just sell some things off. They'll figure something out. So
yeah,
I mean, the Saints Row bombed, and I know when THQ. Remember when they sold? That was like one of the big IPs. There was a WWE one, the UFC one. What was it? There was another one that was pretty popular that we got a bunch. The one with the four horsemen.
Dark
Darksiders. I mean, they picked up a few of those, and yeah, if it doesn't work, then they'll just try to recoup and sell one of those IPs to somebody else. Like, hey, who wants this? Something that we wish Ubisoft would do. Sell your Splinter Cell. You're not using it, so sell it to somebody else that's willing to do something.
Yeah,
and we'll talk about embracing. If they falter, well, we'll talk about it.
Yeah,
but I don't really need to break down their financials or anything. That them detonating is just like THQ detonating. Did that affect anything?
Yeah,
no, it
exactly.
didn't.
No, they had a blowout sale. I remember on my phone.
That'll just happen again.
Everything must go.
Yeah, everything was, and I thought it was a joke too. They were like, "Oh, they're doing this open call and with all these people," and it was like every other hour I refreshed and it was like, "Oh, EA bought this, THQ bought this. Oh shit, this is what it's like." I could see them with their little paddles,
Oh man. All right. Moving on here. Another sponsored question. This is from Citizen. I believe he may have dabbled at all the 5 boroughs at one point. He's sponsoring a J-Shep question. So the question is: It appears Nintendo sent a cease and desist order to Steam. LOL. Can Adam or anyone on the panel shed some light on the Valve Dolphin situation?
So there's no code that's in Dolphin that's linked to Nintendo, which is why Valve let them do it. But we already know what's the purpose of Dolphin. It's to emulate GameCube and Wii and other things. So, I mean, come on now. So that's what their argument is. It was like, hey, this is violating our IP because of what it can do. That's pretty much it. And it's funny that Valve was like, all right, fine, we're not going to do it. Well, you knew what this was. You already agreed. That was why it made big news, because you knew exactly what you were putting on there. You know what this is. It's not a game. There's no ROMs or anything in it. You have to supply that. But what does it do? Well, it lets you play those things that you have to have. Now, the argument is that you could be allowed to rip your own ROMs. And so this is just giving you a way of playing what you've already ripped. So that's, I guess, why Valve gave it the green light, but Nintendo doesn't see it that way. They see it as just promoting piracy of games that they no longer support, which makes no damn sense. Because it's like, well, you're not selling it, you're not supporting it, so what do you care? What do you care what people are doing then if you're not going to do anything with it? So yeah, so it's been put on hold from the Dolphin team. They said indefinitely, and I don't think they're going to be able to work any of this out. I mean, it was ballsy when I saw that. Remember, I brought that up. I'm like, I can't believe they're doing this. Especially,
but are you surprised though, Nintendo?
No, of course not. I mean, I don't understand. They should have known. That team should have known this was going to happen. Especially now with everything that happened with Tears of the Kingdom, there's the key tool that lets you rip the Switch games for the coast. They went after them. They got rid of it on GitHub. Of course, it populated on everywhere else, but still, they're like trying to shut everything down. And then you announce this shit. Oh, come on now.
Yeah, Chris, what's your take?
Well, I mean, this is unsurprising. Nintendo's become super litigious. They're going after little guys, big guys. They don't care, right? They're really super protective of IPs now, and even more so that they're trying to turn them into other media like visual content. Say the Mario Brothers movie. They're probably going to do other stuff, and then they have to deal with Universal in the parks. So they're just really protective of stuff. So it's not surprising. Like Adam said, I feel it was stupid for Valve to announce this Dolphin thing. They should have just released it, right? They should have been like, here it is, right? And then
RetroArch is out there. Retro's there, and that doesn't.
Then when you do the cease and desist, you just stop supporting it. You just go, oh well, okay, I guess it's and then let the internet take it. Just do that. But this is not unsurprising. Of course, they're overreacting. They're just trying to go. Remember, this started when Nintendo Switch Online started. I remember they went after what's the old ROM site that'd been around for like 20 years?
Yeah,
the online one. Shit.
Oh, there's so many.
What's it called? Evil Paradise. Evil Paradise. Yeah. That site's been around like 15 years, and all of a sudden they decided to tase it. I mean, it came back, but like they just went after all these guys. Why? Because they started reselling those games again under Nintendo Switch Online. So they wanted that annual subscription to get access to the same shit you already had. You know, and so this is the same thing. They don't want people accessing this stuff outside of their ecosystem and protecting the subscriptions. And it's like, well, this has already been around for years. Emulation's been around forever, and people have been playing this stuff, figuring out how to rip ROMs or whatever. You're not going to stop it, right? So, but they still make the attempt. They go overboard, I think, and they even hit people. They'll hit individuals. Okay. So that's shitty. But that's how they are.
It's a mess. But I mean, it's still out there. People are like, oh well, I can't do it. Yeah, you can. It's still on there. Retro Arch is there. You can still, that has the engine for Dolphin, so you can still run through that. Don't worry about it. Or EMU Deck, if you have a Steam Deck, you go get that, and that'll install all the emulators you need, including Dolphin. So it'll be fine. This was just their own front end that they were trying to do. And it's just like pushing it. It's like going into a crowded room and then seeing the shady guy in the corner. And then all of a sudden that shady guy, we all knew he was there, but now he's standing in the front of everybody. Look at me. And it's like, oh no, shady guy. You know, so it's the same thing. It was already there. We knew it was there. They shouldn't have done it. They'll disappear from the front page, but it's still there. You can still get it on your computer and your decks.
Yeah, a couple comments here on Mighty Nerd. He goes, it has Wii keys in it according to MVG, Adam. Who's MVG?
MVG? They have what?
Yeah, and then another thing he says here is also, I'm guessing this is an influencer. MVG actually showed part of the Wii keys in a YouTube video on his channel. He didn't show the full code, though.
No, yeah, that it has to have. All right, so for Switch games and things like that. But that's the other thing. It's like it's a 2-part process. So you do need the key list that shows it, and then you put the game, and then that's how it matches up. So that's the other thing. But you still need the game for it. And that was the argument. So it's like the app, the emulator wasn't built with anything that has a copyright. And the Wii keys, that's just open. People can dump their stuff anywhere. So let's say if you whip your game and you have your key and you put it on the list, well, whatever, that's you doing your thing. So that's the other issue. So, but you can't alone make anything work. You still need the game to link with it. It's the same process with the Switch. The Switch, when you do the emulation, you have to have a prod and a key list, and those files have to be installed first in order to get the ROM to work. If you try to run it, it'll give you an instant error. So that's the issue there. But it wasn't for the application itself built, because that would not come with it. The person would still need to get that for the keys. The keys do not come with Dolphin. So that guy, he had it, then he got it online. If you type in right now Wiki, you'll find it in Google. It's elsewhere. But that's not in Dolphin. Dolphin doesn't come with that. Dolphin doesn't come with ROMs. None. You have to do the same thing with Yuzu. Yuzu does the same thing.
Most emulators are like that, where you can either pull your own your own BIOS and stuff like that. Get them to work. Or, there's other means. The
emulator itself doesn't come with those codes. It doesn't come.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't come. It's the same thing with Yuzu. If somebody was to download Yuzu right now, I'm like, oh, look, I downloaded this ROM. I got Yuzu. They'll dump it. The first thing's going to tell you need the prod keys and stuff. It won't tell you where to get them. And if you're ripping your own games, you'll have it. If you don't, then you got to go and search for it.
Yeah. Blitz, thank you, man. He goes, MVG has a major site called Modern Vintage Gamer. Cool. Now we know.
Oh, that dude. Oh, I call him Modern Vintage Gamer. Yeah, he covers everything though. He did the 360. He does a lot of mods. He did the whole executor package. That was pretty cool. He covered that.
Yeah.
But I know. Yeah, Modern Vintage Gamer. That's how.
Yeah, I don't know any of these video games.
Oh, he's been he's a programmer.
British dude, I think.
Yeah, that's a British guy. Yeah, right.
Yeah. He programs and makes games and stuff, and he does his YouTube channel on the side.
Yeah. I know the gaming historian and Metal Jesus. I know those guys. I don't really.
Those guys have the gaming historian and Metal Jesus don't deal with programming like that.
No, he goes in deep. Mm-hmm. Like he goes into the specs. He'll throw schematics on how to do it. Like when he was talking about how to mod your Xbox, he wasn't just saying go to this website and get this. He would show you the solder points. He would show you all the little steps. Yeah. Because it's not illegal to do that stuff.
Yeah, I respect him. That's cool. Yeah. All right. Moving on here. Toon Medic, Mr. Michael Santiago. All right. First question: Are you? Hey, Brett, get ready for this one. Are you guys gonna play Diablo 4? If so, what character will you choose?
Barbarian, because that's all I do. I don't know anything fancy. I just hit things with a sword and a mallet, and I make it die.
That was literally my D&D character. I was like, I just want to be a barbarian. It's gonna be
That's
shit.
it. I grew up on Conan. That's it. That's it. I don't know magic. I don't do voodoo and none of that. The warlock's he's not in there. Witch Doctor's not in this one, and that's a shame because he was fun.
It's tied into the Necromancer, which is totally the class I'm going to be. Hopefully they rebuff up my party, but I bring the Wog with me, yo.
The Necromancer, I found.
Oh yeah.
In 3, that was my secondary, and that was only because you can get all these things to follow you, and eventually I had like a Soul Train Congo line of like.
Yeah, no, that's how I like. I was like, I'll let Chris tell you.
No, playing with Brett is amazing. I walked in this cave. It's like, Brett, I'm having a problem with this cave. Brett walks in with like 5,000 skeletons. It's like, I got this. Like, excuse me. And they just walk past you and just started demolishing everything.
You don't have to do much. Once you go, they just automatically go out and attack. So you just wait. And if they have trouble, you shoot from a distance. And I'm like, all right, that's it.
Yep.
I don't know. I like hit a mosquito or something. I didn't have to do anything in that.
So just give me like, all right, boys, scatter. But I'll probably dual class because I also any game where I can kill things with fire. I love throwing fireballs around. It's the greatest feeling ever. So I'll probably play a sorceress as well. I'll probably play one that I'm just kind of playing on my own, and then one with any of the other guys who want to play. So
yeah, I'm playing it.
Cool. All right. Anybody else?
I usually play a knight. I usually just love swords. So
yeah, for me, I usually do rogues, Diablo games.
Like I stab you.
Yeah, I gotta stab them in the back.
All right, cool. Moving on here. Okay, so this question we actually got a while ago. I threw it into the what you want to call it, leftover questions, because this question is specifically for you, Manny. I just forgot to bring it up again because Michael asked it when you were where did you go? You went to Washington, right?
Yes, I went to
Washington State.
It was when you went to like a conference or something.
I went to GDC. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So it was when you were at GDC. Yes, this question.
Okay.
All right. So my question is for Manny. In Marvel Snap, there are different variations of cards which give us the artist that drew it. Do you think this is a good way to get your name out there? Also, do you think these artists get paid more if the card they do gets more engagement? Is this something you would be interested in if they reached out to you?
Well, the way freelance works is you don't get more or less. You just get a lump sum of whatever they decide to offer to you. So whatever amount, if they're peeping artists, which they probably peep a bunch of some. I don't know if anybody in Marvel Snap is a well-known artist, or if they're just hiring a lot of other types of artists. But they have a range, and usually they will go after. There'll be 2 times. Like there'll be the showcase artists, I would think. Like your Scott Campbells and your maybe John Romita Jr.'s or Adam or Andy Kubert. Those guys, they probably approach those guys and be like, okay, the fans know these guys, and they'll probably pick those guys, and then maybe a bunch of people that fill in. Or I did see packs of cards that were in like sort of anime sort of styles and other kinds of different styles. So, but I don't think when it comes to those things, they don't usually. They usually just have a lump sum especially when any freelance job is like that. So they have a certain amount they want to pay, and it just also not only depends on who you are, but it depends. First, it depends on who you are, if they want to use as showcase, or if they just have a lump sum across the board that they just get a bunch of artists for. Having the names of the artists, that is a very good thing. To be honest, every single thing that involves like. I don't even know if Fortnite even does that, but I know I've done some work for Fortnite in the past, and I don't remember them. I don't remember them fully promoting the artist. That they do have the artist, artist's work in the in the load screens or some of the menu screens. But yeah, I mean, I mean, I don't know how much information gets shown on Marvel Snap, but again, it's always good to know who an artist is, especially if you see an artist there that you like. You may do a search on Instagram or, that other tweeting platform, to see if you can find them. But it's always good to know. I mean, it's more than people on Twitter do. They just rip your shit off and just throw it on there, and people automatically think you did it. So it's good on them. But Marvel has always been that way. They've never, at least when it came to giving credit to their artists, maybe not so much paying them when they are co-creators of specific characters, but they at least, Stan Lee at least made it a point to credit all of his his art, his artists, his co-writers, letterers, and colorists. So, especially at a time when DC wasn't even doing that.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
All right, good stuff.
So sorry if it's not a concise answer, but yeah, in general, if you're doing freelance for places like, for any companies, usually they have a budget and they have a pricing, and then obviously if you're a more famous artist, they'll probably be more willing to pay you more money because you can get them some more attention within the fan base. But I don't know how much the fan base is with Marvel Snap, or if there's any sort of crossover. A lot of times there isn't. They sort of stay within the same line. But who knows? But good they actually give credit to the creators or artists.
Yeah, right. Good stuff. You could tell how old this question is because that's when Marvel Snap was popping. Everybody was talking about it.
Yeah, and I have to say, Marvel Snap, and
no one's talking about that game anymore.
I mean, it hit pretty hard up in the beginning.
It did, yeah, it did. It hit hard.
I mean, I'm sure it's they keep talking about Marvel Snap, but again, one thing I do have to say about the Marvel Snap game is none of that artwork looks like garbage. It's actually pretty. It's actually pretty decent. Pretty decent artwork that they have going for it. So they have definitely a good team that's not just settling on people who can actually pick up a pencil like some of these companies do.
Yeah. All right. Last two questions of the night are actually tongue-in-cheek type of questions for me, so I'll answer them. So they're not meant to be 100% serious, but whatever. First one is from Tumeke. He goes, not really gaming related, so you don't have to answer. I will answer. But I'm watching Tony buy and build a heap of awesome mech models, gunpla models, and I love to see it. And I wonder, with Tony always saying he doesn't buy special editions or collectibles for video games anymore because he doesn't have room, what makes this new model obsession different? I'm going to tell you why it's different, and then I'm going to explain the room part. It's different because I don't think I've said this on air or even on Twitter. It's I realize that every hobby I have involves me looking at a screen, and it's that's what I do for work too. I just look at a screen. So it's what can I do to get away from screens, right? And this is how it all came together. It's I had to do a piece on modding my Steam Deck, right? And I was like, oh, this is fun, working with my hands. I forgot how much I enjoyed this shit. Then I saw some random Adam Savage video of him building a gunpla. I'm like, that looks cool. That looks kind of and I appreciated the mechanicry that went into it. I'm like, oh, that's what I could do. I could build shit, and I don't have to look at a screen. So that's what started that hobby. And then, like I said, I haven't been very happy with gaming this generation. So I'm like, okay, I don't have anything else to do. Let me get into this. And it's been very rewarding, right? As for the room thing, I'm being very strategic because I already know I'm going to have a specific limit to how many of I could buy because I don't have enough space, But, oh, by the way, that's also how it's different than buying a video game collectible. You buy a video game collectible, you sit on your shelf, you're done. This is you're actually building things. I'm doing an activity. So it's different in that sense. But yeah, when it comes to room, I'm only going to buy maybe 8 tops because, again, room is very limited here, So I'm being very strategic about which ones I buy because I know once I hit that cap, I'm done, unless I move into a house one day, which is probably not going to happen. But yeah, so that's that. Alpha Chuck, this one's a little bit more cheeky, if you will. I have been listening to Throwdown for about a year and a half, and the most repeated phrase I have heard Tony say is, "I'm not interested in this game." How can someone who hosts a video game podcast not like any games? Any games? Come on, bro. Like, have you not heard me get hyped for any game? You've been here a year and a half, right? You must have heard the hype I had for Elden Ring this entire time. God of War, Horizon Forbidden West. I wouldn't be hosting a video game podcast and doing a video game podcast if I didn't love video games. I wouldn't have gotten into this industry if it wasn't for that. Think about it like this, right? For the majority of my time being a game journalist, I wasn't paid shit. I just loved gaming. Mm-hmm. This podcast, you know how much money I make off of this? Zero. Actually, no, we make like maybe $100 a year, and that money goes right back to you guys. We bought you a PS5, you know? So I don't do this because I'm making money. There's no money in games at all. It's just, I love this shit. It's just, this generation so far has been disappointing me. And it's something I've thought about too. It's like, damn, I'm hosting a video game podcast, and I come off so fucking negative. But it's like, I can't fake it. It's just, this is not a good time in gaming, and this also coincides with, and maybe it is the reason for it. I'm also not as interested in gaming, probably because gaming has just been so disappointing. But obviously, you give me that Final Fantasy 16, you already know I'm going to be hyping that shit for a while. Spider-Man 2, give me that shit. So yeah, the whole question of like, I don't like any games, that's kind of silly. Like, I wouldn't be here if that's stupid. It's like, any game, really, bruh? So yeah, that's my answer. Like, I get it. I come off as negative, but I gotta be honest. I can't be like, hey, video games, like these fucking kind of funny guys. Like, I can't do that shit. I gotta be honest, you know. But I wouldn't be doing this podcast. I could just be like, Manny, I'm done. You host this shit from now on. I could do that, but I'm not going to. I love Throwdown. I'm going to keep doing this until you guys don't want to listen to it anymore. You know what I'm saying? So, but yes, but at the same time, yes, I do agree with you that I don't like a lot of games. But the thing is, I don't like 99% of anything. I think most things are terrible. But I like
you're just a bitter old man now. That's all that it is.
What happened?
You're just a bitter old man now. That's all that it is.
But the thing is, I've always been like that. Like, I've always been this way. Like, I think,
yeah, that's fine. Like, you could be a bitter old man at 12.
Yeah, it's true.
I've been a bitter old man for years now.
In my early 20s, that's when I was like, I don't think I'm going to pay attention to pop stuff anymore. I think I'm done here. In my early 20s, I'm like, I think I'm done with this stuff. This is stupid. So, but yeah, no, like, most movies are trash. Most comics are trash. Most of anything is trash. That's just, you know, how I see it. Like, if you're lucky, maybe 9 out of 10 things are like trash. Just one thing is good, but yeah, it is what it is, man.
But this is precisely why you ended up getting into the, you know, certain types of music, because the search for the things that you want to listen to, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like, you know, a lot of, you know, most stations didn't play hard rock. Well, they played heavy metal, or, you know, all the
WSOU.
Yeah, there was that. But John, you remember how WSOU used to come in? It was like static as fuck.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, even when you were right next to the fucking station in New Jersey, it was fucking horrible.
Yeah,
anyway.
no, you're right about that. No, but that's what it is. I honestly believe, and I think a lot of people don't understand this. Like, people have certain predilections to something. You can't force yourself to like something. Mm-hmm. Like, again, I've always liked hard rock. I've always liked it. But when I heard real metal, it literally felt like, here's a square, and I finally found a piece that fits into it. I'm like, oh, shit. You know, because I just have a predilection to that. Just like I have a predilection for certain type of games and stuff, movies. And I don't think that's wrong. I think too many people aren't honest with themselves. I'm honest with myself. I know what I like. I know what I don't like. I've been around. I've tried it all. Like, especially with gaming. Like, I've been a game journalist for 12 years, bro. I've tried every genre. Like, and I know what I like and what I don't like. It's as simple as that.
But
you played even those Japanese tactic games?
But here's the
I've tried all that shit, man.
But here's the big difference between Tony and a lot of people. When he does play some of those games, like, he still as a reviewer is able to give it a fair shake, regardless of whether he likes something or dislikes something.
Yeah, and this is why I need Throwdown for that outlet, because what I am going to say about a game in a review has to be a very specific way. I could say whatever the fuck I want here. I don't have to, like, you know, be quote unquote fair to it. You know, even though in a review I'll be like, I don't like this type of game. Well, the thing is with games, it's simple. what is this game trying to do? How well does it do it? That gets you out of everything, you know? So it's like I've reviewed a bunch of racing games, non-burnout racing games. I don't really care for them, but I've mostly given them good reviews. Like, hey, is the car selection cool? Are the tracks dope? How's the handling? Simple shit like that. But at least here, I could just say how I want to say things, and it's a good outlet. Because you got to present things a certain way in the review, but it's still the same opinion. It's just presented in a different way,
A little more articulate way, I would say.
Yeah.
But I mean, to be honest, like I've never, maybe because I know you, has never come across as like angry or negative, which is weird because I guess. I already
I'm not angry about any of this shit. I'm chilling,
But I feel like obviously this is trash rings a lot longer than man, I'm really enjoying this game.
Yeah. Drunken Guardian goes, do you ever thought about doing a solo podcast or episodes, Tony? Tony's Take, I did those for a while, but I don't have time for that. It's very easy. You put a camera on me, I could just rattle off. Video games. Here's the thing. Even though we obviously do show notes here, I've always said I could just be sitting anywhere. Somebody says nice to me, let's do a gaming podcast. All right, let's go.
Well, I mean, to be honest, that's
we've done it. We've done it at E3. We're fucking doing a podcast now.
Yeah, because in general, like it's a lot of Throwdown really is just we would do the same sort of thing is if we were sitting in the same room. The only difference is in these situations, it's a little bit it's slightly controlled, right? In other words, there's a general walk that you need to
but the thing is, and you said this too. Basically, Throwdown is just, hey, those conversations we have on the phone. Let's do that in a podcast. That's literally what Throwdown is.
That's pretty much it is, yeah.
Because this is the shit we talk about on this show. That's what we talk about off air. Just games and all this other shit, We love this stuff, man. We don't make any money off it. We don't give a fuck. We just like doing this. We're hanging out with you guys. It's fun, Even if we come off as curmudgeonly sometimes,
Yeah, I mean, the thing about it is I also think, like I said, like sometimes the negative part tends to ring a little louder than the positive things. Yeah. Even no matter how much you can gush about something, the quick cut of this is trash could literally negate all of that good shit that you said about something.
I still remember that from one of the first Throwdowns. Like, oh my god, I forget the name of the game, but it was a game that was on Vita. It was a demo.
Soul Sacrifice.
Yeah. Thank you. So you and Riku talked about how cool it was for about 15 minutes, right? Yeah. And then I gave my opinion, which was like about a fucking 30 seconds. I'm like, this game's fucking trash, right? In the comments, why are you guys hating on this game? It's just, I'm like, what? 15 minutes praising this bullshit, But they only centered on one thing. And also, this kind of happens in this chat too, where it's like, I'll say something negative. Why is the panel feel this way? It's like, but do you not hear all the positive things we said about it? But you're right. That stuff cuts, faster.
They expect everybody to like it. It has to be unanimous, or else it doesn't count.
Yeah.
Well, it's not even just that. Like, it's sort of what Manny was saying. It's if you say something negative about something you like, then it hits harder than anything else.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But if someone doesn't care about Soul Sacrifice and you're shitting on it, they don't really care. But if someone shits on The Last of Us, which you really care about, then it's gonna stick.
Yeah. And Blitz, he says negativity the internet thrives on negativity. Humans thrive on negativity because we're wired that way. Because think about it, positivity wouldn't keep you alive in the jungle, right? But being negative is like, oh, I don't trust that bush. What if a fucking cheetah jumps out of that shit?
Oh man, what happened to so and so who lives down the street? Man, I better be careful, right?
Remember what happened to Joey when he got near that fucking tree, man? A monkey jumped on him, man.
Yeah, there was an old thing like years ago. I'm sure a lot of you guys don't remember, but they literally tried a positive news network. That thing didn't last at all.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, all they did was talk about all the good things, that happen to people. Because whereas much people want to hear good things, the bad things always ring the loudest. It's interesting. But that doesn't mean that they're. But that doesn't mean that they're like certain things can't unite people in general. like again, we always see this all over the place where it's like you hear about these people sort of finding these communities, the gaming communities, and sort of essentially almost finding friends. Our buddy Toon Medic,
Yeah, man.
he was never fully into like the whole sort of gaming thing. Like he had an interest in it, but he was only the only person that he knew that really was sort of like in it like him, right? But as he after he met a couple of us, and then he started to go out and to search for more people. So he started meeting more people just by getting involved. So I mean, that's not to say again, the negativity is out there, but that also there's also a lot of really great positive things that can happen from the sort of love of video games and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that's such a great story too. Is like Michael, he couldn't find anybody in his circle of friends that like gaming. He's like, okay, let me search for people like that, and he's found them. I saw him at the New York Video Game Critics award show. He was an usher, right? And I was like, how'd you get involved in this? And he's like, I reached out to Harold, the guy who organizes it, and he's like, how can I help? I'm like, that's fucking cool,
Yeah, there you go.
And that's simple. And I know he also helped with like there's like a Long Island gaming show. He volunteered for that as well. Like it would be if we had more guys like Michael in his gaming community, man, we'd be better off.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, like just the sheer joy to see that come from that guy, like again, we saw you have the video of when he won when they gave the Xbox
Series
when
X,
gave this Xbox Series X, and just all the stuff that he's done. So and he has his podcast too.
Yeah, he's inspired by Throwdown and Gamertag Radio. Do his own thing. That's great. As a matter of fact, I really enjoyed that. Because they kind of. It to me, it helped visualize something. Like, for example, a week before, Michael got the Xbox Series X, right? Danny already had it, so he was in New York. He had it with him and stuff, and in his hotel room. So I go in upstairs, because we were gonna go to dinner that night, and the Series X was there, right? As soon as I see it, I go into like editor,
analyzing mode.
Analyzing mode. I'm looking at it, analyzing it, like looking at the ports and shit, seeing how heavy it is. I'm doing all this stuff, right? And then a week later, I see Michael's expression. He's just like, oh my God. Like, he was just at awe. I'm like, damn, man, somewhere along the way, I lost that fucking feeling. I lost it because I just became analyzing man, because it's very interesting. Like, again, I'm just fucking mistreating this shit. I'm like, what is going on here? It's like, damn. So when I saw Michael's expression when he got the Xbox Series X, no, he didn't even get it. He didn't know it was his yet. He just saw it, right? And he was just like,
he just walked into the room.
Yeah, he was just like, oh my God. He was amazed, right? And then when Danny told him, hey, bro, this is yours, like, the joy on his face, man, I was so happy to be there to see that. I'm like, yeah, man. Yeah, like that used to be me. I used to have that kind of joy. Like, life has stripped it from me, but that's cool that people still have that shit. That's great. So shout out to Mike for life, man. Great dude. And again, he's an ER guy. This dude started doing that shit during the pandemic, man. Talk about trial by fire. Like that is some wild stuff, man. All right, on that cheery note, we actually ended on a cheery note tonight, people.
Look at that! Whoa, hey!
Y'all
won't remember it. You'll just think that Tony thinks everything's trash. There you go.
There you go. Yeah. Drunken Guardian, can you remember the point where you lost that feeling? Who the fuck knows, man? Like, it must have happened within the last 10 years.
I mean,
here's the thing. I'm Dominican. I have a predilection to be negative, and I'm the most positive person in my family. By the way, keep that in mind. But yeah. Anyway, it happens when you're in something. You kind of don't. When you see how the sausage is made, that magic is gone. That's just kind of how it is.
I mean, yeah, that sort of happens. But I like at least when I started getting into the industry, I tried not to. I didn't want, when I saw some people like that are so jaded and destroyed by the industry and stuff like that, I felt, at least for art, I said to myself, I didn't want to become that sort of person, Yeah.
I still, despite some of my negativity, I try to not be like it, because I've seen some of these other, Manny, you already know, and Chris too, when we've seen these guys in these industry, it's like, at these events, like, yo, what the fuck? I'm not trying to become like that guy.
Yeah, there are some, as far as negative as you think Tony is, there are some people, and some of them that we met, that are even worse. They're 20 times worse than whatever Tony is.
It's bad out there, man. When you become an adult, the magic ends. Yeah, man, magic started dying from when I found out Santa Claus isn't real.
Well, come on, that must have been when you were like 3, because your mom probably told you Santa Claus wasn't real to begin with.
Yeah, no, I was like 6 or 7. She's like, Santa Claus isn't real. I'm not buying you presents anymore. I'm like, okay, that sucks, But yeah, man, good stuff. Throwdown, man, another one in the books. Good stuff. Do we have anything to plug before we leave?
We got another episode of I Am Negan for Fear of the Walking Dead, Season 8, Episode 3. So that's out. So if you didn't care about the show and didn't watch it, you can listen to us bitch about it, because that's what we did. A lot of that's myself, Richard Bailey Jr., Carlos. So that's on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and of course the Coalition proper. So yeah, that's out there. And that's it.
Good stuff, man. All right, people, thanks for watching Throwdown. You can follow us on Twitch and Twitter. Join the Discord where the conversations and the rumors and all kinds of craziness is always happening. You can find us on any podcast app, your podcast of choice, by searching for Throwdown Show. That's 2 words, Throwdown Show. Throwdownshow.com to listen to past episodes. And if you've been watching us on YouTube and enjoyed our videos, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified of when our premieres go live. Links to everything down below. Once again, I was your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
See you next time.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero.
Peace out.
Adam Vale.
Enjoy your holiday tomorrow.
And Brett Murdoch.
Deuces.
Right, people, you already know, man. Thursday, later.